Okay folks, David Hurley of EasyChessTips.com here, your pub chess bluffer, looking at a couple of problems from my man Jackow Neistadt's 1987 East German chess problem book, Zauberwelt der Kombination, the magic world of combinations. And we're still looking at problems connected to the idea of Ablenkung, which is distraction or deflection, where we move a piece causing the other player to have to move something and thereby get into a sticky situation. And here we have in the first problem a very nice situation for white, and there is a nice Ablenkung. However, I think there's an option that Neistadt did not notice or simply ignored, whereby black can actually ignore the deflection and simply move away. So let's have a look. The situation here, black's under a lot of pressure, but how can white crack black open by using deflection? Well, it looks like this knight is about to be toll-chocked if he's not careful. And the queen would love to come in here and say checkmate, but there's a slight problem. This queen is nicely guarding that square. So it's not going to be checkmate in that way. We've also got this nice rook queen down here looking at h7. And we've got a lurking bishop and a lurking rook. So I had a look at various options, such as bringing the rook down here. That didn't really work. And then I found the solution, and that is to move the knight here. And you say check. You're feeling very happy about that. But wait a minute. Now black can take the knight. Ha ha! Yes! And if black takes the knight with either the queen or the rook, then the party is over, as Neistadt likes to say. However, I noticed that black doesn't have to do this. So let's just have a look at what Neistadt says in the old answer section at the back. He says here, Aufgabe 16, which is this one, knight to e7 check, yes. And then if the queen takes, what happens next? Well, the rook comes in here. So now you've got the queen here, and you've got your rookie boy here, taking the bishop. Now, if the queen takes the rook, then down can come the queen here, and check the king, and the king has to run away, and it all turns out pear-shaped for black. So black probably won't want to do that. So let's erase all that from the board. And so we don't like the look of that when the old knight jumps in here and says check. So let's take it with the rook. We take it with the rook. Well, that's all very well, but now this rookie boy can come in here and say check. And if the queen pops down here, then it's checkmate, or the queen gets lost, but it's certainly checkmate. If the queen comes down here, then that is checkmate. So the rook will block. So the rook comes back down here, then the rook takes the rook, and that is check. And the only option is for the queen to take the rook, and in again comes the queen here, and that's going to be the end of the game. Eventually, we've got this bishop can come here now, you see, and put in the second killer check. Okay, so I'll show you how all that works on the analysis board, and then I'll show you how I think black can escape the immediate Ablenkung disaster. Okay, so let's bring in the knight. There's check. The queen takes. Now we have this nice move here. The rook comes in here. The queen can't take the rook, otherwise, well, the queen can take the rook, and then it's going to be a disaster for black. over here he comes and we get check. So I suppose the king can't move anywhere. The queen's going to have to cover it. And that is the end of that. On the other hand, we have check. If the rook takes, this rook can come down here now, check. And whatever happens, we get back to this situation here. The king goes over to there. Let's do this time. Bring in the bishop. And oh dear, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? It's not looking good at all there. Off he goes, and checkmate is around the corner. There it is, right round the corner. So, with all that in mind, is there a way for the king to escape? Well, I wonder, because those are the two options given by Neistadt. I wondered, what if after check the king simply moves away like this, which Neistadt doesn't discuss? Then I tried to rack my brains to get to an easy checkmate, and it didn't happen. But that could just be because of my addled brains not being able to crack this one with no help from Neistadt at all. So I'm going to put this into the Lichess analysis board and see what it comes up with. And if we find that we can escape, then we have out Neistatted the Neistadt. So let's have a look at the analysis board. Okay, let's ignore that and see what happens here. Oh dear, it says that white is definitely winning. Well, we take that. What do you recommend next? Simply moving back. The problem is this pawn is pinned to the king. Okay, you reckon this? To get away from the knight, of course. Okay, so we take that. Yeah. Okay. Ooh. What's happening here? Check. The king takes the queen. Okay, we're swapping off queens, all right. Grabbing pieces. Okay, so we're definitely in the dumps when it comes to material. Definitely in the dumps. White is still winning. However, I won't play any more of that, but we can see how by simply moving the king to h8, black actually escaped from the distraction or deflection conundrum. Black was able to wriggle out and survive for a few more moves, and who knows, white may make some massive blunder. Okay folks, so now for our second problem. This one is fantastic. I think this is the best one I've looked at so far in this book. It's Aufgabe 18, so number 18 in the book, and I thought I'd seen it and I'd solved it because there's some nice moves on offer here, but I completely missed this one. It's another level. So the situation is, according to old Neistadt, that Zwecks Angriff hatte Schwarz ein Läuferopfer gebracht und die Bauerndecken des gegnerischen Königs aufgerissen. Which is to say, being translated roughly, that for the purpose of attack, black has sacrificed a bishop for a pawn, and in order to get down to the king, the white king. And now, and you can see this, I think, quite easily here. Where are we? Where's the pen? Here, if now the queen pops down here and says check, the king hops up here, and then either the queen or the rook can come down and grab that knight and thereby win material, which should give black a nice advantage that black can go on to convert into victory. But that is not enough for our man Neistadt, who says here, or he challenges us to find, he says here that black can this Material ausgleichen, oder sehen Sie für Schwarz eine stärkere Fortsetzung? Which is to say, being translated, or can you see for black an even stronger continuation? And I thought I had found it. And if you look at the board, you may well think that you have found it too, my friends. So I'm going to have a swig of beer while you rack your brains to try and find the best continuation for black, an even better continuation than the possibility of grabbing that knight down there on B2. Ha! Well, you may have noticed, as I noticed, what a clever chap I am, I thought. You can just grab the old pawn with the jolly knight, and the queen is pretty much up the kibosh. That's what I thought anyway. So where's the queen going to go? Well, the queen could come up here, I suppose, which may actually put a dent in my idea, since she's protected by the bishop. However, it does look like a nice move for black. So I thought I'd found the answer, though I didn't go any further in my analysis, such as it is. So, needless to say, my dear friends, that is not the answer. There is something much better, a true Ablenkung, or distraction, or deflection, however you like to translate that word. So, have another think. If you thought the knight should take the pawn, have another think, because that is not what was it? That was not the die stärkere Fortsetzung, the stronger continuation. Okay, so did you find it? The stronger continuation, which gobsmacked me, which is why I'm reading this book, is to pop the rook. Now, how far are we going to go, do you think? Do you think we're going to take the bishop? No, we're going to park our rookie's arse on E2. And you may be saying, you may even be wailing, what on earth are you doing with that rook? You're just giving away a piece, you foolish black player. Because now the bish can simply take the rook. And indeed, he wants to take the rook because the rook coming down to E2 was controlling, very briefly, D2. And if the rook is controlling D2, when the jolly old queen comes down to A1, that is suddenly checkmate. So anyway, white takes the rook for no apparent reply. And this is where the stroke of genius comes in, because now the bishop is no longer protecting the pawn, and indeed the bishop is not any longer on this diagonal. And this is the true genius of Ablenkung, because now the knight comes into play, but he doesn't grab that pawn. He comes down here, he screeches to a halt here, overshot the square there in his enthusiasm. So the knight can now come down here because the bishop is no longer controlling E4. And the knight coming down here means that black still controls this square, which means the king, once again, cannot move. Brilliant, eh? And that is pretty much that. however white tries to continue, black wins the game. And I will now put all this onto the other board. I'll spend half an hour erasing this board and I'll put all this on the other board, and then we'll see what Lichess has to say about it when we come back. Okay, so here we are on the good old Game Knot board, and we can put this whole procedure into action. Oh. Okay, let me just do a random move of white. It seems I set it up with black to move. Okay, so black brings the rook down to e2, an astonishing move. And bishop takes, otherwise it's checkmate next go. So that is a forced move. Bishop takes, down comes the knight. And the knight is, of course, attacking the queen. I didn't mention that just now. The knight is attacking the queen, but the important thing is the knight is controlling this square here. And now, whatever happens, it's going to be checkmate. I can't see a way out. There isn't a way out. I did try this crazy idea. The queen runs up here, checks the king takes, but it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense, because even if you try to get in that check there, the knight can just take, or even better, the king will just move back. Let me show you what nonsense I'm talking. That goes there, and that's pretty much it. So even if white wants to keep playing for a couple more moves, it's all nonsense, because the end, my friends, is near. What are you going to do? Nothing. Okay, so without further ado, let's hop back to the Lichess board, which is a bit of a mess, and clean up the board and have a look at the options on there. Okay, I've cleaned up the board. Well, good enough job for this video. Now, let's get the action moving. Oh. Get me pointer so I can click over here. Okay, look at that. Ha, Lichess knows what it's about. Lichess says move the rookie boy to e2, and yeah, we have to take. You see here, black is totally winning. We have to take, and down comes the knight. Look at that. My desperado idea, which I thought was utter nonsense. Lichess and me, we're on the same blooming, what's his name? On the same, what is the word? We're on the same channel? No, we're on the same wavelength. Okay. Oh, so, yeah, take that queen. Then what are you going to do? Look at that. That's, oh, is there another option? No, Lichess is having another think. You're just going to give up. Are you just going to give up the bishop? You can't move the bishop away, obviously. You can't move the bishop away from this square. Okay, it's some sort of desperado move. I think that's it. That's it, isn't it? Lichess gave up. So there we go. I am amazed that Lichess tried my desperado move, but there you go. The pub chess bluffer and Lichess, we are on the same wavelength when it comes to this sort of thing. These sort of desperado last gasp attempts to get out of jail. Okay, folks, great stuff. I love this book. And what fun to find that Neistadt sometimes ignores stuff that we discovered with the old king move to h8 in the first example, but that was a great move. So let's just shout out the guy who did that. This was in 1931, this game, in Moscow, and it was white was a guy called Slonim, and black was a guy called Rajumin, R-J-U-M-I-N. So there we are, Rajumin. If you are the guy who did that, then all power to you, my friend. Okay, folks, that's it for me for now. David Hurley of EasyChess.com, the pub chess bluffer, over and out.